Welcome everyone to the game between Praggnanandhaa and Vincent Keymer at the Tata Steel Chess Masters 2026. Prag and Vincent, both amazing players, and today it'll be exciting to see them play against each other and to learn from their game because they both will be trying to go out against each other. A handshake here, and the game begins. Prag, as always, takes a bit of time for his first move, but opens up with the English opening. E5, played by black. Pawn to G3. And now the bishop will come out to G2. Knight F6, played. And black can play D5 here, but if you are super ambitious, you'll try to go C6 and D5. That's what he does. And Prag goes d4. Now that after pawn takes pawn, queen takes, the knight can't come out to c6. That's the reason why d4 makes a lot of sense. And d6 played by Vincent. Vincent is telling Prag that I'm okay to go into this endgame. No problems there. I'm happy with losing the right to castle. Prag says, I don't want to go there. And knight a6 played. This has never been played before. It's a novelty by Vincent on as early as move 5, which is why Praggnanandhaa thinks for a good 15 minutes and pushes his pawn to d5. Pawn takes pawn. Pawn takes pawn here. And now you can go g6, bishop g7 in the style of Benoni. Knight comes out to f3. And we have bishop to g7. The bishop puts itself on a long diagonal. White castles here. And black plays bishop d7. Interesting move by Vincent. Maybe some ideas of b5, b4. He goes knight e1 and whoa, h5. Even before he castles, he's starting to play with his h pawn so that the rook can be activated. h4 comes in. This is what ambition is all about. Queen b3 now. Prag is like, I have to create my own play. He goes queen b3, attacking the b7 pawn. And Vincent says h5, h4 was not just for attack. It's also a positional idea to put pressure on white structure. Queen b6 played. Bishop comes out to e3. And now black takes on b3. Pawn takes back. And h3 played. The pawn moving ahead to h3. Now the bishop on g2 has to kind of figure its way out. It goes back to h1. And it looks a bit boxed in, no, here. Bishop f5. It feels like black is kind of playing it easy here. Rook can come out, king d7. The other rook could join in. So Prag goes direct. Knight b5 attacking the pawn. King d7 played. And now Prag, boom, he sacrifices a knight. And you can see Vincent a little bit stunned there. He's like, what the hell is happening? If I take the knight, check, I'll just move my king back. There's not even a check. The knight controls it. What's the point of Prag? Well, Prag shows it. Knight e5. If you take king e5, bishop f4, and the king is mated here with rook d1 coming up. And f7 is hanging, so he defends f7. But now check on c4 and d6, and the bishop will open up. So for a couple of pawns, Prag has sacrificed a piece. And bishop d4 played first. He goes rook e8. Pawn to f4. It's a very intense position and great defense shown here by Vincent with bishop h8. Now check to the king. King d7. Checks again. He comes up. And maybe there's a chance to some point, just take this pawn on a7 if you are tempted. Goes knight c4 check. King c7. Now bishop e5. Ooh. But can we take on e5, f e5, knight d7 and attack this pawn on e5? Because That would be a weak pawn there. But instead, Vincent goes king d7. And now a mistake, knight d6. But it's a double attack. He's attacking the rook and the pawn. However, Vincent has an amazing move at his disposal. Can he find it? The move is knight to g4. He finds it. What a move. Beautiful move. Attacking the bishop. Knight takes b7 taken. If he had taken, by the way, knight e8, there was knight e5, f e5, bishop e5, knight is trapped, and bd4 is coming. But anyway, knight b7, knight e5, pawn takes, bishop takes, and now rook d1 played by Pragg. You can see that Pragg is still a piece down. Vincent goes knight b8, and Pragg chops off the pawn on a7. The king starts running to e7. Vincent has 11 minutes, Pragg has 5 minutes. They need to make 10 more moves. Knight a5 check, king comes up. And knight to c4. He brings his knight to d7. And now pawn to d6 played. He goes rook c8. And bishop comes out to d5. This is getting very intense here. Pragg pushes his pawn to e3 with just 53 seconds left. And rook c5, he has to still make 6 more moves. He's thinking a bit too much. He's down to 30 seconds. Can he physically make so many moves? b4, the best move. And Vincent sacks an exchange. Rook takes. Bishop e6. Pragg comes back. And you lose the knight, but take the other knight. He plays his king to e6. And rook b7. He could have traded here with rook e7. And maybe there was good chance to draw with the rooks off the board. Bishop b3 now. Needs to keep it on the d file. He goes up rook d3 and gets up to 40 moves are done. But Vincent is like, what are you doing, Pragg? Still one more move. By the way, his time is 15 seconds left. Vincent has to make the final move. He goes bishop c2 and he's saying, Pragg, come on, make your move. But Pragg is like, 40 moves are done. Vincent is like, really? Is 40 moves done? Because his score sheet is, maybe a move is missing. The arbiter comes in and says, yes, 40 moves are done here. And Vincent calms down a bit because he thought only 39 moves were done. And now Vincent, after calming down here, writes his moves down. Pragg also has to finish his moves because in the last 5 minutes you don't need to write the moves. And Vincent, being a kind guy, he gives Pragg the score sheet. And now the position is actually very interesting because he comes back rook d2. It can even be an equal one. And now Pragg can try for this endgame actually. Because this might not be so easy to win. He goes rook b6. But now rook d8. He brings his rook to d8. And pawn to b5 pushed. Oof. He takes, bishop takes d6. And this was a big mistake by Pragg. You know, d7 maybe, king e7, he's still fighting. But now after this, king f2, it's just stabilizing in black's favor. You can play f5, king e7, and the bishop moves out. f5 played. Rook comes out to a6. And g5 pushed on the board. Brings his rook up to d4. And Vincent step by step tightening the noose. b6. And now blocks the pawn. The b pawn is dangerous. The rooks are active, but somehow the black king is also playing a major role. The rook comes up. And now bishop to c5. Maybe not. Bishop e4 perhaps. So if you play bishop c5, rook b3, b white is okay. Yes, finds it. Amazing chess by Vincent. Rook goes back to d2. And now he chops off the pawn. And you can see that Pragg knows that it's all over now. He's going to lose. Even the king is super weak. Bishop b4. Rook comes to a2. And now king e5 played. Rook drops back to e2. And now rook c3. Rook comes back and tries to defend the pawn. He goes back. There is king rook to e1. And now bishop a3 played. Rook to a2 played and the bishop comes back to c5, putting pressure here on the e3 pawn. And he takes on b3. Pragg tries to go in. Now first attacking the rook, getting it off. The second rank check to the king. The two bishops are so powerful. Sometimes they are like much better than a rook and a pawn. Points may be the same, but here the bishops are just monsters. He goes bishop d5, now threatening rook g2. Rook comes to f1. This point is if rook g2 here, rook g3, there is some e4 stuff that he would like to. Even that's losing, but Vincent, well, he has many ways to win. He goes bishop c6, attacking the rook, so no longer can be on e file. And after rook g2, king h1, e4 cannot even stop anything. So Pragg resigns, Vincent Keymer wins, and Praggnanandhaa, well, he played some amazing chess. He sacrificed two pieces, but I think Vincent just showed his class in this game. He was so good, and of course at the key moments, Pragg made a sort of an error in judgment by keeping the rooks on the board. And you can see both of them speaking with each other with so much of warmth and excitement there. Pragg, well, for him the tournament isn't going great. For Vincent, well, he's getting better in the tournament. And but this entire line that Vincent played with knight a6 might just start a new trend in the English. And that's what the top players do. They do their research, they come up with new ideas, and then the entire world follows their footsteps.